Some technologies are hidden because they failed. Others are hidden because they worked too well. In the final years of World War II, Nazi Germany developed technologies that were never meant to be seen outside sealed laboratories, underground facilities, and classified archives. These were not battlefield weapons designed for immediate use. They were experimental systems that crossed ethical, scientific, and strategic boundaries. When the war ended, many of them disappeared, not by accident, but by decision.
As the Third Reich collapsed, its leaders understood some crucial. Victory was no longer possible, but knowledge could still be preserved, stolen, or denied. Orders were issued to destroy records, dismantle machines, and evacuate key personnel. What could not be secured was erased. What could be secured was transferred quietly into the hands of the victors. What remains today is an incomplete picture, fragments of technology that reshaped the modern world without ever being publicly acknowledged. Nazi Germany approached technology differently than its enemies. Scientific research was not merely encouraged, it was weaponized ideologically. Engineers and physicists were given immense freedom, unlimited funding, and near total secrecy. Results mattered more than morality. Speed mattered more than safety. Entire research divisions operated without oversight, competing for breakthroughs that could change the war overnight.
Among the most visible successes were jet engines and rocket systems. But beneath those well-known achievements existed projects that went far beyond conventional warfare. German scientists explored electromagnetic manipulation, acoustic weapons, advanced materials, biological research, and experimental propulsion concepts that modern engineers would not revisit until decades later. One of the earliest areas of extreme experimentation involved electromagnetic fields. German researchers understood that powerful magnetic forces could interfere with machinery, navigation systems, and even human perception. Experiments were conducted to study how electromagnetic exposure affected vision, balance, and cognitive processing. Test subjects reported disorientation, loss of depth perception, and intense physical discomfort. The results were unstable and dangerous, but the implications were clear. Perception itself could be disrupted without direct contact.
Temperature manipulation became another frontier. Nazi laboratories conducted extensive experiments on rapid thermal extraction, the ability to remove heat from objects or environments at unnatural speeds. Officially, this research focused on protecting equipment and personnel in extreme climates. Unofficially, it explored how cold could disable machines, infrastructure, and biological systems almost instantly. These devices were difficult to control and hazardous to operators, which limited their deployment. But the research itself was preserved, later influencing industrial cooling and cryogenic technologies. Sound, too, became a weapon. Acoustic research explored low-frequency vibrations capable of affecting the human body internally. Certain frequencies cause nausea, vertigo, panic, and involuntary muscle responses. Higher intensities produced internal damage without external wounds. German scientists recognized the tactical advantage of a weapon that left no visible trace. However, the technology proved unpredictable and its effects could not be reliably controlled. It was deemed too dangerous even for limited battlefield use.
Aviation research
pushed boundaries that would later define modern aerospace engineering. Beyond jet propulsion, experimental aircraft designs tested unconventional shapes, variable wing geometries, and adaptive control surfaces. Some prototypes were designed to alter their aerodynamic profile during flight, optimizing speed, stability, or maneuverability in real time. While few of these aircraft reached operational status, their design principles quietly influenced post-war development in both the United States and the Soviet Union.
Protection was as important as offense. Traditional armor was heavy and restrictive, limiting mobility. Nazi researchers explored advanced composite materials and fluid-based protective systems. These experimental armors remained flexible during normal movement, but hardened instantly under sudden impact. Manufacturing limitations prevented large-scale deployment, but the concept itself survived. Decades later, similar principles would reappear in modern body armor and protective gear. Perhaps the most unsettling research focused on the human mind. Nazi scientists investigated methods of enhancing concentration, reaction speed, and endurance through chemical compounds and electromagnetic stimulation. The goal was not mind control, but amplification, pushing cognitive performance beyond natural limits. The results were catastrophic. Subjects experienced neurological damage, psychological collapse, and permanent impairment. These experiments were quietly terminated, and most records were destroyed.
Stealth technology did not begin with modern aircraft. German engineers experimented with radar-absorbing materials designed to reduce the visibility of aircraft and vehicles. Early versions were crude, heavy, and inefficient, but the underlying principle worked. Radar reflection could be manipulated. This research laid the conceptual foundation for stealth technology, even as its origins were deliberately obscured after the war.
One of the most ethically disturbing areas of research involved biological and chemical experimentation. While no evidence confirms successful development of genetically targeted weapons, theoretical work explored the possibility of tailoring agents to specific populations. Allied scientists who reviewed captured documents were deeply alarmed. These projects were terminated immediately, sealed, and officially denied. The research crossed a line that even wartime pragmatism could not justify. As Germany retreated, underground infrastructure expanded rapidly. Hidden factories, research bunkers, and transportation networks were constructed beneath cities and remote terrain. These facilities allowed experimentation to continue despite relentless bombing. Some were discovered intact, others were deliberately sealed or destroyed. Even today, unexplored chambers and tunnels are uncovered during construction projects across Europe.
When the war ended, the race for Nazi technology began. Allied intelligence units were deployed not just to occupy territory, but to capture knowledge. Scientists were classified as strategic assets. Research was dismantled, catalogued, and redistributed. Programs such as Operation Paperclip and Operation Osavia Kim ensured that German expertise fueled post-war technological dominance quietly and efficiently. Some technologies vanished entirely, their machines destroyed, their creators silenced, their records burned, not because they failed, but because their implications were too extreme. Knowledge, once uncovered, cannot always be safely used. Sometimes it must be buried.
The legacy of these hidden technologies is visible everywhere, in aerospace engineering, in materials science, in electronic warfare. But the path from origin to application has been deliberately erased. History records the results, not the sources.
Beyond technology lies the human cost. Forced labor built these machines. Prisoners tested them. Lives were reduced to variables. When the projects vanished, so did accountability. The destruction of records erased not only inventions, but evidence. This is why these technologies were never supposed to be seen, not because they were fictional, but because they revealed how easily science can become detached from humanity.
As technologies Nazi Germany created were not miracles, they were warnings. They demonstrated what happens when innovation outruns ethics, when secrecy replaces responsibility, and when desperation justifies everything. Many of these projects remain classified to this day. Others exist only as fragments in archives, testimonies, and unexplained gaps in history. Together, they form a shadow narrative, one that challenges the idea that progress is always benign.
The world was never supposed to see these technologies, because seeing them forces uncomfortable questions, not about the past, but about the present. How much classified research exists today that mirrors these same patterns? How much knowledge is hidden, not because it failed, but because it succeeded?
Technology does not disappear on its own. People make it disappear. Decisions are made behind closed doors. Records are sealed. Narratives are rewritten. And history moves forward, carrying only what it is allowed to remember.
The Nazi technologies the world was never supposed to see did not vanish completely. They changed form, they changed names, they changed hands. Their influence remains embedded in modern systems, invisible to those who never question where innovation truly comes from.
What was hidden was not science, but responsibility.
Perhaps that is the final lesson. Not that these technologies existed, but that they were erased so thoroughly that their lessons had to be relearned again and again. The world was never supposed to see them, but the world lives with their consequences.